Welcome to TheRootzAI.
Imagine two giants, one on the threshold of the future and the other backed by Google's empire. One with the arsenal of Silicon Valley's most hyped startup, the other armed with Google's empire. It's not just competition, it's the most talked about AI war. In this video, we're diving deep into the battle between OpenAI and Google DeepMind. We'll look at who's leading in research, which company is pushing out products that actually touch our lives, and what each is doing to make sure AI doesn't spin out of control. By the end, you'll see not just who's winning now, but who might dominate the future. Let's begin at the beginning. Research. For in the area of artificial intelligence, the person that solves the next big thing makes the rules for all the rest. Right now, OpenAI is most generally regarded as the fast-moving company that makes headlines. In 2022, when they released ChatGPT, they didn't simply put out another AI model, they changed the entire world conversation. In one night, chatbots became talk of the town as millions started using them every day. It followed years of work on large language models, with OpenAI leading the charge in scaling and training effectiveness. It was all primed by papers like the 2020 Language Models Are Few-Shot Learners that laid the groundwork for how larger models could all of a sudden accomplish things they weren't trained for. That changed everything. But here's the surprise. DeepMind has always been more systematic, more science-focused. Their most special moment came in 2020 with AlphaFold, the model that solved protein folding, a puzzle scientists had struggled with for decades. While ChatGPT impressed casual users, AlphaFold actually changed biology. Scientists could now predict the structure of proteins in hours rather than years. And in 2022, DeepMind released its predictions in an open database encompassing nearly every protein that science has ever known. That's not research, that's a gift to humankind. So who's winning? It's all dependent on what you mean by winning. OpenAI is winning the contest to public recognition, crashing out models such as GPT-4 that continue to raise the standards for language comprehension. But DeepMind pulls ahead in the arena of research. When you crack something like protein folding or come out with new learning breakthroughs, you're remaking science itself. And don't forget, Google DeepMind is rising up again. Recently, they released Gemini Flash 2.5, their quicker model intended for commercial use. Combined with their new Nano Banana image generation tool, they're demonstrating that they're capable of flashy consumer AI as well as OpenAI, maintaining their roots in research. But there's only one half of the battle that research represents. It's what AI actually appears in our daily lives, in our phones, in our apps, and in our work. OpenAI has a huge hype in this regard. ChatGPT's release in late 2022 was a bolt out of the blue. It reached 100 million users in weeks, one of the fastest growing apps in history. That one product brought OpenAI into the students and teachers and coders and even marketers' hands. When they introduced GPT-4 and custom GPTs and the GPT store, they made AI a platform that anyone could build on. Then there's Microsoft. OpenAI's partnership with them took their reach to an unimaginable level. GPT tech is now inside Word, Excel, Outlook, and Teams. Millions of workers are unknowingly talking to OpenAI every day just by clicking Copilot in Office. That's a distribution network most startups could only dream of. DeepMind, by contrast, has taken a slower path to products. For years, their research lived behind the scenes, powering Google services without users even realizing it. If you've used Google Translate or seen YouTube recommendations get insanely accurate, there's a good chance DeepMind's algorithms were working in the background. But lately, Google is pushing its AI into the spotlight. The Gemini family of models is their big consumer push, with Gemini now embedded into Google Search, Gmail, and Docs. And with Gemini Flash 2.5, they're offering an even faster, more efficient AI that's usable across devices. And don't forget about Nano Banana, Google's just announced image creation tool. Unlike many traditional AI art tools, Nano Banana is meant to be lightning quick and lightweight, so it can function in real time. Imagine creating images within your Google Docs or Slides presentation in seconds. That's the level of workflow integration that might revolutionize the way students, creators, and businesses work. And so, in products and distribution, OpenAI is the bold startup shaking the status quo, while Google DeepMind has the power of an ecosystem pushing it forward. Consider it. Billions of people already rely on Google daily. If even a small fraction of those services natively integrate Gemini and Nano Banana, DeepMind's potential far exceeds anything OpenAI can match. Of course, with all this capability comes the question everyone's asking: is this safe? Both firms realize that a single negative headline about an uncontrolled AI could wipe out years of advancement. OpenAI has made safety a part of their brand. They freely discuss alignment, the concept that AI must align with human values. They've spent money on red team testing, where they actively attempt to break their own models before launch. And when GPT-4 launched in 2023, they spoke about offering access to trusted partners prior to release to the general public. Their blog entries are full with assurances that they're attempting to walk a line between innovation and caution. DeepMind, however, has a reputation for being cautious going back quite far. Back in 2016, when they created AlphaGo, the AI that defeated the world champion in Go, they ensured the matches were held in controlled environments. Today, they have ethics boards, collaborations with universities, and published frameworks for responsible AI. With Gemini, they've placed heavy emphasis on safe by design principles, testing evaluations to reduce damaging outputs before the models even reach Google's huge user base. Looking to the future, both firms are planning ambitious roadmaps. OpenAI has promised and delivered the future with GPT-5, which is set to break more limits on reasoning and multimodal abilities. DeepMind, on the other hand, is placing its bets on the integration of Gemini and Nano Banana. This is where the battle between AI might make its sharpest turn. If OpenAI keeps winning hearts with flashy, daring breakthroughs, they may be able to keep their position at the top of public imagination. But if Google utilizes its infrastructure to secretly integrate Gemini into billions of daily routines, the power dynamic can shift overnight. So, who's actually winning the AI war? The reality is that it's not quite as straightforward as a leaderboard. OpenAI is ahead on speed, public use, and heartwarming innovation. They've established a direct user connection that makes their models feel important to daily life. But Google DeepMind looks at the long game, with more profound scientific innovations and distribution muscle of the world's largest tech ecosystem. The actual solution could be that dominance is not one-sided. Rather, we are moving into an age where OpenAI breaks boundaries and generates thrill, and Google infuses AI into the fabric of everyday life at a pace no startup ever will. One thing's for sure, the war for AI has just started. And for the rest of us, the winners may not be the corporations, but the billions of citizens who get to live in the future as it's being created. So, who do you think is going to win the AI war? OpenAI or Google DeepMind? Leave your thoughts in the comments because this war is just beginning. If you liked this breakdown, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to more deep dives into the future of technology, and ring the bell so you don't miss what comes next in the AI race.